Perfect. So Will, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're doing.
Yeah, so my name is Will Flowers, and I'm a high school junior in the ECHS speech team. I recently wrote what in the speech world is called an OPP, or an original prose and poetry. So to me, writing is amazing. It is a way by which we can create and explore concepts which, in and of themselves, are hard to visualize. But it's more than that. Writing is creative, and that will always be at the forefront of my use and experience of it. Because in writing, I can create simply in order to create. If I were so inclined, I could write both a treatise and a novel with essentially the same tools. And over the last 6 months, writing has allowed me to have and create dialogues about the most random things without scheduling a Zoom call. In many ways, people feel isolated. A lot of how I'm choosing to deal with my isolation is by allowing myself to look inward and really think about myself and the interactions between people and within people. And with writing, I have the tools to do that.
Thank you, Will. And so Will has been competing in speech and debate, and he's been competing with an original monologue that he created himself. And so what you're about to hear comes straight from his head, and it's a fictional piece that he is performing. Go ahead, Will.
Sure. Let's see. I knew Dr. Atherton for many years. He was obsessed with his life, his story. When describing the progress of his own life, he liked to say that he demanded in himself beauty in execution, with an organic volatility and lack of planning. He made himself, his life, out to be a fiction. Strangely, the further he was depleted, the more zest he had at the prospect of his own life, or maybe the prospect of his own death. He said to me, "Merlot, it's beautiful, don't you think?" And I didn't know how to respond. He said, "When I depart, I shall leave with the pride of Dido, the lyricism of Voltaire, and the providence of Sylvia Plath. I've always loved it, to the poet's final verse, the artist's demise, the romantic's final show of devotion. I can't imagine a better ending." And all I could do was stare. The man who had been my mentor for years, who had guided me through the logic of art, was telling me how his suicide would be beautiful, would be perfect. And you know, he was so amazing, so singularly brilliant at all that he did, that I did not feel any fear, any compassion for him. I just felt awe. I had never met a person so dedicated, so uncanny. He left us, and those elusive phantasms that were his grief cling to him no longer. To us instead, they cease. He did leave us a remnant of himself from near the end, a poem. I will read it for you now. Me, the Night, and a Single Light, by Richard Atherton. Alone on a plain of blackest night, desolate but for one bright light, reality caged by shadow and thought, containing me and what is and what is not. Known to me is the feel of the ground, but feeling is a sense that is feeble, not sound. I know of a light, or so I think, and yet In the play of shadows, I see the world shrink. My eyes are fleet as frightened does, for the world, however still flows. Reality is flat, void of time and tension, its depth lost in good intention, displaying life as a dream in 2 dimensions. Thank you.
Yay! So Will wrote all of that, by the way, everyone. And I think it really speaks to the range of public speaking, and when you let your voice go, how many different ways that you can express yourself. And so thank you, Will. That was a wonderful job.